Do 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 do. Do 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 do. This is Dina's vlog. Do 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 do. Redbubble process coming at ya.
Hey guys, my name is Dina Marie Rodriguez, and I'm a full-time hand lettering artist and illustrator and teacher and product maker of all different kinds of things living in Portland, Oregon. And you are watching my newest vlog on a new project that I got to do, my first ever of the new year for Redbubble. Redbubble. So for those of you that don't know what Redbubble is, it's an amazing print-on-demand service where artists like you and me can get our beautiful art printed on things without actually having to fulfill them or ship them or get any of the products made ourselves. It's really cool. There's a lot of other websites out there like Society6, Designed by Humans, Threadless, just to name a few, but in my experience, Redbubble is actually my favorite. So let me tell you a little bit about this commission. They reached out, they wanted to celebrate their 11th anniversary of being in business. Congratulations, Redbubble! You've been in business for 11 years and hopefully many more to come. They wanted me to go ahead and illustrate the number 11 and use the Redbubble in some way. And they were kind of like, creative direction, you go, and let's see what you make. So this vlog is completely dedicated to walking you through every single step of designing this t-shirt for Redbubble to not only be more transparent about my own business, but maybe if you ever wanted to design a t-shirt for a client, maybe this video could help you do that. Okay, let's get into it. You ready? I'm ready too. The most important part of designing any t-shirt is its relatability factor. So this t-shirt was created to be used internally. Redbubble wanted to celebrate 11 years in the business, but they also wanted a really cool t-shirt for all the employees to be able to enjoy and for them to give away at events and just be able to generally talk about on social media. So after Redbubble reached out to me, although the first step I want to say is, yes, I want to work with you. Please, 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 please. No, you have to go ahead. Okay, what's your budget? What are your goals? How do you want people to feel when they see this piece of artwork? You have to ask them follow-up questions to make sure that they know what they want so that way you can give it to them. And then before I accepted any amount of money or even started production, I had to send them a proposal that also includes a contract. In this proposal, the kind of proposals that I like to write, they're pretty much in layman. It's a normal conversation between me and the client. I don't use any fancy legal jargon in there because the whole purpose of the contract is so you can actually read it and most importantly, understand it. So when you sign it, you know what you signed. So that way we both know what our responsibilities are in this partnership together. So if you guys are interested in learning more about my onboarding process when dealing with clients, definitely check out this article. It's going to tell you everything you need to know from step one, hey, I want to work with you, to the contract, to email templates, to what to actually send the client and the verbiage I use when talking about pricing, all the way to the very end and asking them for a polite review. If you would like to get access to all these email templates, please be sure to sign up for my newsletter at lettershop.com. So how I like to start off every single process, especially with such an open-ended art direction like this project was, you go ahead, you bust out a piece of paper and a pencil and you just jot down and do a huge brain dump of every possible idea that you have. So if you guys are having trouble figuring out a bunch of different ideas for a project, something that I think is really, really helpful is when you go ahead and do what's called like a word map or mind meld or word association, whatever word you want to call it. I like mind meld, word meld, mind map meld, trademark. So when you're creating a mind map meld, you want to go ahead and do a bunch of word associations that you're trying to tie into your drawing. Because sometimes if you try to describe different ideas, just communicating them, it can be a little bit easier to put those thoughts on paper. So for this process, I had two major ideas. I had an idea of, okay, Redbubble's been around for 11 years. Let me do a little bit of research here. Go to redbubble.com, check out all the different artwork that's on there, and try to see what are the most popular themes on Redbubble. What are certain illustrations that just keep popping up everywhere that's doing really well? Because I bet you if I put a collage of Redbubble's favorite and most popular themes, that'd probably make a really cool t-shirt. And then another idea was just taking one of those themes and then creating a piece that's independently that. Out of all of these themes, what's the one that no matter what anyone draws does really well on pretty much any platform? Pizza. Pizza's pretty amazing. So I decided to take the number 11 and make it and sprinkle it around with some design magic and have the number 11 look like 2 slices of pizza. But out of these two concepts, there definitely was a clear winner in my heart. Although I love the simplicity of the pizza piece, something about the collage 11 just made me insanely happy. I got to make all these really cool characters. I tried to have my own like unique spin on each of these characters. Like, it's one thing to draw a dinosaur. It's another to draw a dinosaur throwing up a rainbow. There was a lot of challenges in this project for me, which were mostly exciting because if you look at it in my work, I'm definitely tagged a lettering artist. I don't do a ton of illustration. I have been trying to sprinkle a little bit of illustration here and there, but this definitely was a fully illustrated piece with lots of characters that I just had to come up with out of my brain hole, and it was really fun and it worked out really, really well. And that's why I was excited to show you this entire time lapse of my process, just because it was more of like I did it! I could draw things that aren't letters! So after all that hard work, it was finally time to ship off those concepts, which is always really nerve-wracking. This is why I think it's super important when you send an email, guys, to a client. Don't just write an email saying, hey guys, the concepts are attached, see here, let me know what you think. No, don't just show them what you did, tell them how you did it. So I shipped it off, I waited, and then I waited, and then I waited. So when they replied back to me, they chose Icon Party. After seeing Icon Party, they wanted an additional revision. They were like, okay, instead of using the number 11, let's go ahead and hand write the word 11. And I was like, oh, I'm a hand lettering artist. I guess I probably should have thought of that, huh? So this time I went ahead and did a new concept, put all the different icons into a circle, and went ahead and hand lettered the word 11 in a really cool script style that you see a lot throughout my work. And actually the reason that they chose me was because they like this piece, and this piece. So you can definitely see some of the inspiration came from work that I already have on Redbubble. Okay, and then I submitted that final design and approved! And I did my little approved dance. So after I have my blueprint approved, it's pretty rough, right? It's a pretty rough drawing. Some of these characters aren't completely thought out, so it's time for me to go ahead and ink all these little dudes up and really give them characters and features and eyeballs and put in some of those details. Now, I'm the kind of person where I like a pretty simplistic design, but I do like to play with a couple things. I like to have the outline of my characters with a thicker line, and then any details like eyes or whiskers, or just indentations in like maybe the suit of the robot, for example. I always like to use a thinner line. So that way there's a nice level of visual contrast in the piece that's subtle but isn't overwhelming. So after the inking was totally done, I went ahead and started to add some color. Now, I don't know about you, but color has always been like really hard for me, and I usually have to steal my color palettes and then tweak them after the fact. So with this particular project, what I decided to do was I just stole a random color palette from Dribbble that had a lot of the colors I know I probably would need with this piece. Because you run into the challenge of when you have so many different characters, there's so many more obvious color choices that need to be made. Like the dinosaur should probably be green. The shrimp on the sushi should probably be pink. Right? Things like what color the cats are, that's interchangeable, but if you see a lightning pencil, it should probably be yellow. So after I go ahead and I color everything, I go ahead and I start to merge layers. Now, I'm the kind of person who gets really worried about merging layers, so every single time I do that, I make a duplicate, and then that way I have the independent layers and the merge layers just in case. So everything's merged, and then I start to associate, okay, what things in this palette need to be yellow? What things in this palette need to be green? What things in this palette need to be Redbubble red, right? And then that way I can start to tweak the colors that I know all need to be that color a little bit more easily, instead of just taking it 3 times longer, independently changing the colors of all my layers, which is crazy. Once I organize everything together, now it's time to refine down that color palette. I don't want this piece to be too rainbow and in your face. It's already pretty childlike, and I didn't want it to just scream rainbow colors, so I went ahead and I tried to dial it down. What colors in here do I absolutely need for me to be for me to best convey the message of the illustration. And then I went ahead and super zoomed into Photoshop to go ahead and make sure that I actually colored inside the lines and that the colors I chose weren't clashing too much with the others and that my line work was just a little bit more refined, and just to see if there's any last opportunities for any final details. This is a step that I think sometimes gets ignored. You have to be able to take breaks in between each one of these phases I've even talked about, just so your eyes can rest. You can go back to your your project with fresh eyes, just so you can see more of the errors and to see more of what doesn't work, so you can replace it with what does work. And then I was finished! Dina! High five. Good job. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this sneak peek into my t-shirt designing process. I hope it was a little bit enlightening for you. And also, not only did I send off the final deliverable of the PNG high resolution image, I also sent over a bunch of stills on my process and even a time lapse of my detailed phase. And also, hopefully this vlog gets introduced too, so that way not only did I get paid for this awesome cool t-shirt, but I also get a little bit of exposure, which doesn't hurt anybody, as long as the exposure doesn't actually replace money. T-shirts are the coolest project that an artist, illustrator, or designer, or anybody can make. There's something really, really special about an artist making something so good that someone else sees it and relates to it and likes it so much that they wear it on their body for everyone to see. All right, Redbubble part of this video is a wrap. Woo! Now, there's lots of other exciting things that I can tell you about too. The most exciting thing that happened this week is the Women of Illustration web series launched. Oh, so amazing. I went ahead and posted the very first episode ever of the Women of Illustration web series with an amazing person. Her name is Irene Fellio. She's a great animator and illustrator living in Brooklyn, New York. She does insane work. It's like abstract and weird in the best possible way. And the first episode is all about how to practice as an illustrator. And here's a little clip. It's day one. You're like, hey, drawing seems cool. I want to learn how to draw. So do you think if someone practiced, let's be crazy, 4 hours a day, every day for a year, how long do you think someone could be prepared enough to get paid for their work?
Oh my God. Like, honestly, it would not even take, like you said before, I really think that half of it is being confident in your skills and also what you can offer. It doesn't even necessarily, because, you know, what is good illustration? Like, there is good illustration, obviously, but developing that style, that voice, and that perspective takes time. Mm-hmm. And if you feel like you have that, like, drawing is just a vehicle for that. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
So, I don't know. I don't think it would take long at all.
So what would be long? 3 months? 6 months? A year? 2 years?
So if you're drawing every day for 4 hours at least, honing in your practice, making work that you're proud of, making work that you're not proud of, and figuring it out, like learning from that, like 6 months, a year.
I would agree with that.
Maybe a year. I would say a year, honestly, just to because we live in the age of Instagram where it's like, upload something, send it out. Like, I'm not talking about like posting something and getting like 5 likes and being like, sweet, that's good. Like, I'm talking about being able to like look at your work, critically, and being like, I like this because of this and this. I don't like this because of this and this. That's what you really need to learn how to develop. It's not necessarily the drawing that needs to develop, it's yourself.
So if you guys want to see more, definitely check out one of the links I'm posting below, or just search for it under recent videos. Something really cool happened this week with the whole Women of Illustration launch. My friend Lauren Holm, who, if you remember, I went ahead and created an illustration for her to celebrate the launch of a new blog called Peen Cuisine. So for her to pay me back for my illustration, she went ahead and created her very own illustration to help me promote the launch of Women of Illustration. Now, when she made this amazing piece, oh my God, my phone exploded. Now, I don't mean like my phone exploded like a little bit. My phone did not stop buzzing for like 2 days straight. I got over 3,000 new followers for Women of Illustration, and then another 2,000 for my personal account for Lettershop from one post that one person made. The next thing is I released a brand new lettering workbook for lettering adventures. This is where I make a new workbook teaching you a new style of hand lettering every single month. And this month's book was called Paintbrush. Paintbrush is a really cool style that I've used in a few different projects. It's supposed to mimic if you were using like a flat brush to draw lettering. So it pretty much just looks really organic, almost like your handwriting, but it's really fun and it's super textured. You go ahead, you start out with your skeleton, and then you go ahead, you add a little bit of weight, almost in like a ribbon-like fashion, and then you go ahead and you scribble it all in there, and then you add a couple flicks for decoration, and it's a really cool style. So if you guys would like to learn all 26 characters step by step, please consider joining our community at patreon.com/lettershop to access this workbook and last month's workbook for just $7. Oh man, so many things. I did so many things in the past few weeks. I hope you guys are killing it. You're being productive. I'm really trying to make as much content as possible to help you through your journey being an artist or illustrator. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have been enjoying these videos, please hit that subscribe button or join a newsletter or support me on Patreon or anything else. Just yell from the rooftops, Letter Shop is cool! And that would be super helpful. Thank you guys so much. I will see you later. Bye.